So quick Sunday morning update. You can see now it's all painted white, but not finished just yet. I'll tell you why. So this wall here, when I started drilling the curtain poles, the paint around the hole was loose. So I got a scraper, started scraping it, and all the paint was just peeling straight off in big flakes. So what they've done is, when they've had that wall plastered, re-skimmed, they haven't put a mist coat, so a watered down coat of paint on top of the bare plaster. So their coat of paint didn't stick to the plaster. So then as you scrape it, it just falls straight off, which is crap. So you don't really want to paint over top of that because that's just a waste of money, waste of time. So you've got to take it all off. I didn't want to risk the whole room doing that. So what I did was just got a Stanley knife, cut around the edges, and then I scraped. It took days and days and days because some of it come off easy, some of it didn't. And then I got down to a place where I thought it was good enough. The first coat of paint on that wall then, I did a mist coat, so really watered down first coat of paint. Then I also had to scrape out all the cracks in the ceiling because there was lines where the plasterboards are joined. And someone else had done this before, but they've used just a paintbrush to paint the lines. So on the ceiling you could see big fat lines as well. So they just sanded down a little bit. The only other faults in the room really were just loads of holes in the wall where they put picture frames. I don't know why they had somewhere there's a hole probably for the curtain backs. There was another hole up there for a curtain pole because there's another one over there, but that's really high and wide. There's my curtain pole hole, but they also had curtain pole holes here, 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 and the middle one wasn't in the middle. And then there was just the odd little hole where they've had little tack nails for photo frames and then just little dents and things. But also the main problem was lumps. They had paintbrush marks where they just had a big fat paintbrush everywhere. Runs, bumps, lumps, and just crap everywhere. So I've sort of had to lower my standards a little bit because otherwise it's going to take forever. I'm making more mess, dusting. I got a new carpet down now. There's my bed. I want to get the bed in, but I've kept it in the plastic sheet so far because to make more mess. So what I did was, after doing the mist coat of paint on that wall, I then filled the ceiling cracks and I filled all around the window frame with proper filler, hard filler that's going to go rock hard. So hopefully then, if I just use cork in the cracks and the lines there, they'd come back again because cork shrinks and cracks. So I used filler, they won't crack. And then I did a bit of a light sanding, and then I did a whole coat of paint with undercoat. I didn't have a lot of undercoat primer left, so I just did the light coat of undercoat primer, focusing mainly on the filling parts. And then yesterday I did a proper coat of normal trade white paint. I thought what I'll do is, instead of going mad with the sanding, I might as well paint it because some of the paint will cover the cracks and the lumps and imperfections, and then we'll see what we're at after that. After it drying, I noticed that the ceiling, you can still see the lines where the filling and sanding wasn't great. On the walls, I noticed more lumps and bumps. So what I've done is, late last night with the head torch on, so I took the bulbs out, so you can see more marks and imperfections on the ceiling, and then a head torch in the dark, and I use this smoothing filler. It's like it's really not watery, but it's really smooth, like a real smooth paste, and it goes on really thin. You can't really see how it goes on, but it's white, but it goes on real shiny, really smooth. So hopefully that won't need much of a sand down. But I noticed this wall here then needed just quite a bit, because I had a torch looking upwards, so I saw the shadow. You're not going to see that in real life, but I'll notice it. So I went around all the lumps and bumps. This wall here, it looks really bad at the moment because when I was using my filler knife to scrape out all the scrape off all the old paint, I actually made more lumps and bumps and cracks and little scratches in the wall. So I had to go around there fixing all my faults. Around the window frame somewhere, there probably, there's patches where some of the paint came off and some of the paint didn't. So I think here, none of the paint came off. So I've had to blend it in there and there. That's just the blending in part where some of the paint was on, some wasn't. I haven't done that wall there yet because that's going to be my feature wall. So that's not going to go in white. So that's why the bed frame is left up against that wall. So I can paint the 3 walls and the ceiling white. And then when they're all done, I'll move the bed frame and the mattress to this side of the room and I can focus on that wall. I'm thinking it should be really good quality, sanded, finished, smooth, because it's the feature wall and as a feature people are going to look at it. But then from about there up across down, it's going to be a headboard. So really, does anyone care about that bit? And then there is going to be a little side cupboard and there's going to be a little side cupboard. So really your bedside table is going to cover that and that. Again, on this side, my wardrobe is going to be there. So at one point I was thinking, I don't really care about that bit, but I can't really leave it if it's too bad. So there to there is my wardrobe, and then fit in there, I've got a 4 drawer going to go there, so that's not really that important. I've noticed it there, when I undid the screws to loosen off the socket so I could cut around the socket, the socket had been stuck to the wall, and then when I unpulled it, it ripped off that bit of plaster there. But as I just said just then, my chest of drawers are going to go there. I've actually forgot to cut that in and paint that again, so next time I'm cutting in, I'm not going to bother filling that. I'm just going to paint around it, screw it in tight. A drawer's going to go there. There was one problem I had. I thought I was going to have a nightmare that happened over here, but it happened here, but I fixed it. As I was rolling, a big chunk of paint flaked off the wall there, and then you can see that patch there. That was bare plaster, nice and shiny smooth. So if I hadn't been careful, all that wall there can come off. I think it's, again, they've plastered it. It's a chimney breast in there. They plastered over it, re-skimmed it, and then they haven't sealed the paint. So it just flaked straight off. So what I did was, I got some PVA glue, watered it down about 50-50, so it's really watery, and I just painted, well, brushed it on the gap, and I got the bristles of the brush to slightly go underneath the loose bits, like that, and then pressed it down again. So basically I just glued the loose edges to the wall, and then the PVAs, and I primed the bare plaster, and then I've used that light filling to go over the edges. So it's quite smooth, but not great. All I need to do is get a light sandpaper around the edges, and then that'll be invisible. This filler is white, so it shouldn't take too much to go over. It is paintable, so I haven't got to undercoat the paint again, the filler again. So all I need to do now is make another mess, sand that down. What I might do is go around with the hoover at the same time. So instead of it landing on the floor, I'll suck most of it up. But really, I don't want to spend too much more time in here really, because it's taking ages. And it's Easter Sunday. I should be outside. It's not that sunny outside, but I shouldn't be really in here all day. So I think the ceiling isn't too bad. It's not great. It's not as good as a brand new room, but it's not too bad. If I get them joints there sanded down a little bit more and then paint the ceiling, that should be okay. The walls, I think apart from them little imperfections I see that I've found and I've filled, if I get them filled, then sanded, that should be okay. So I think maybe I might get the white done today. And then that's the feature wall. I've had a little look at it. it doesn't look like any holes or lumps and bumps. Just I'm not sure if camera can pick it up. I have gone and scraped. The blue area is where I think it's just grey from the scratched. I've got a filler. They put a blue coat of paint underneath it. So the blue area is where I've got a scraper and I've scraped off all the lumps and bumps. But now what you're left with is just a little bit of, yeah, you can't see it. It's not dead smooth, but where they've used whatever roller and 20 different layers of paint, you just got like an orange peel effect. But as long as there's no runs, no brush marks, then I'm gonna have to just go with that standard. So that's my Sunday. That's what I'm gonna be doing. Probably could do with a bigger sheet than that. That's just a double bed old duvet cover. Really, it could probably do with covering the whole floor, so then I'm going to keep moving it around, but I got to drag the mattress out of the way anyway. So the only bad thing is, if you do spill some paint on that and then you move it, don't stand on the spillage paint, because then you're going to walk on the carpet. So probably a bigger dust sheet might be better. And then that carpet there, offcut, was my plan. I don't want to make marks on a new carpet where the ladder goes, so it was going to go like that, but then you end up having to move that. So you've got to move your paintbrush, you've got to move your step ladder, you've got to move that carpet, you've got to move the thing. It's so hard. So I've just given up using that. I'm just using the ladder on the normal carpet and then the dust sheet. Yeah, so the more I look at it, the more it looks bad. But actually this sanding shouldn't take too long because it's very light. Just needs a little light coat of the sandpaper on it. But the more I look at it, the more I talk about it, the more it's making me think it looks crap. So I better get on with it and get it done.